I posted this on my community tab, and I saw that a lot of you and a lot of people said I should do a tutorial on this. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I did this birthday poster using Photoshop. And if you are new to this channel, I have a special bonus for you at the end of this video, so stick around to the end of this video. I have a special bonus for you. And don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and all the resources for this tutorial are in the description below, so go and check it out so you can follow along. Go and check it out. So without further ado, let's get right into the fun stuff. So we are here in Photoshop and we're going to be creating this birthday flyer, and we're just going to click on home, go to home, we're going to click on new file, and we're going to create the size of 1080 by 1050 pixels, and the orientation is like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, and like this. So I'm going to click on create. Then the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go to the file, we're going to drag in this here, we're going to drag in this here and place it in our canvas. By the way, the first step here is for us to create the background. So creating the background, we're just going to drag in that image here. All right, so I've dragged in the image like this, like so, and we're going to add in, I'm going to do something like this, change the workspace to my workspace so that I can see all the layers. So I'm going to add in a solid color. I'm going to go to my layers tab here, my new layer or adjustment layer, click on solid color, and I will input the color code 23366E, and I'll click on OK, and I'll just move this down here, and I'll change the blend mode of this to, let's say I'll change it to like screen or overlay. I'll change it to overlay, right? Change it to overlay. All right, so I'll change this overlay, and I'll change this, just take down the opacity a bit and move it here, and I'll scale it up a bit. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to add in a series of colors to add to the background. I'm going to drag in a series of colors. I'm going to add in a series of colors, and I'm going to blend them into this image. But before that, I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this to lighting, and I'm going to change this to the opacity to 74%, right? 74%. So I'm going to start adding the series of different colors to this. I'm going to add a new layer here. I'm going to add a solid color here, solid color layer here, and I'm going to fill this with the color code 030E2F. Okay, I'm going to unhide this. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to fill this with another gradient color. To fill this with another solid color. I'm going to fill this with 23366E. I'm going to create another color, duplicate this. I'm going to fill this one with another color FE6000. All right, I'm going to click on this layer here. I'm going to duplicate this layer, Ctrl J to duplicate. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to click on FEAD00s, and I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to create another solid color layer. I'm going to make it to be FEAD. No, I'm going to say it's FFCD63. So the color palettes, the color codes are in the description below, so you can just copy them and use them during your project. So I'm going to do it individually to this. I'm going to add a blending. I'm going to use the blending option to blend these colors into my image for this background. But first of all, I'm going to add a layer mask here. Click on this layer mask, and I'm going to use my brush tool to just paint out some of the parts of this. So this, when I'm on my layer mask, when my layer mask is selected here, I can choose between white, my foreground, or my background. So when I click on white means to expose, and black means to hide. So if I use my black to paint over this, it's just hides out some of this place. So I'm just going to do it like this. And I'm going to click on OK. I'm just going to leave it like this. Then the first part, I'm going to click on this, open this. I'm going to double click on it. And go to my blending options and leave it as blend if gray. Then I'm going to my underlying layers and I'm going to do this. I'm going to drag this. I'm going to drag this here and drag this here. All right, I'm going to drag this here. And I'm going to drag this over here. And I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to split this into two. Just going to move this here a bit. Let's just leave it like this. So this represents the lighter part of the image and this represents the darker part of the image. So I'm going to remove, what I did here is that I will remove this color from the lighter parts and I'll just blend it down like this. Just remove this to reduce the how much of light enter into it. So I'm just going to do it like this. Then the next thing I'm going to do a different one from here. I'm going to double click on this here. And I'm going to go back to leave it as if gray, as blend if gray and underline layer here. And I'm going to change this, move this like this, like so. I'm going to move this like so, and I'm going to drag this here. Just going to move this out like this and move like this, also like this. Just bring this one a bit. So I'm going to go like this. I want to unhide this. I'm going to double click on it to go to my blending layer. My blending options, so click on it and go to my blending options. Then I'll go to this underline layer and I'm going to move this one to the mid-tones part of it. I want this one to mid-tones part. And I will separate this like this. And I will also bring this like this, also separate this and also bring it out like this, also like this. All right, for this I will Ctrl 0, I'll just Ctrl D like this. I will double click on this and I'm going to spread this out also for this. I'm going to remove, make sure this part applies to mainly the mid-tones like this. All right, and I will move this like this and just move this a bit like this here and move this a bit like this here. Okay, I just want a bit of this to show. All right, then for this I'm going to unhide this, double click on this like so, and I'm just going to move everything towards this other side. Move everything towards this other side like this. Okay, just move like this. So I want this place to be most of the lighting. Okay, so what next I'm going to do, I'm going to group this like so, group this like so, and duplicate it, and I'm going to hide. I'm going to Ctrl J this, and I'm going to unhide this one. I'm going to select all this and convert it to smart objects, and I'm going to name this, just going to name this one my background. Okay, my background. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do here is that I am going to add noise to this. Going to my filter, I'm going to click on add noise. Going to noise here, I'm going to click on add noise here, and I'll leave it at 14.001. Then I can also add a little bit of Gaussian blur to this. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to add a little bit of Gaussian blur to this image. I'm going to filter, I'm going to blur, go to Gaussian blur. Just going to leave the Gaussian blur at a radius of 3.5. Okay. All right, I'm going to close this layer, save it. All right, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add my pattern. So I'm going to click on this, a new layer. I'm going to go into my patterns layer. And if you don't have this pattern overlays, you can go to the link in the description below to download this pattern overlay. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to change this to something like color bond or linear bond. We'll change it to linear bond, and I am going to scale this up a bit. I'm going to reduce the scale of it a bit. Now I'm just going to leave it at 100, or better still, I'll make it 90. I'm just going to leave it at 100. All right. Okay, so I'm going to drag in my images to this to this project. So I'm going to drag in this one first here. All right, I'm going to click on select and select subjects. So it automatically selects my image for me. So selecting subjects. So it has automatically selected my subject, and I'm going to click on my layer mask here, and I am going to move this like so, like so, like so. I'm going to convert this to curves, convert this one to smart object, sorry. And I'm just going to drag this one out like this, like so. All right. So I get this one out like this. So by there will be a lot of space here. Okay. Next, I'm going to bring in my second image, my image of my lights here. Image of my lights here. All right. And I'm going to change this one to screen. Change this to screen here. All right. And I'm going to just make it to be bright, like super bright, like this, like this, like so. Okay. Like so. So make it to zoom, drag it using my transform tool. I think I'll leave it like this. Okay, I want to just move this backward a bit. Just move this backward a bit. Move down. Okay, so for this layer, I'm not happy with this. I'm just going to move this opacity to be down, take this opacity down a bit. Okay, so this layer, I'm going to open it, I'm going to bring it out, I'm going to unlock it, I'm going to bring it up here. Then I'm going to change all this, change the opacity of this to 50%. Change the opacity of this to 50%. Change the opacity of this to 50%. Change the opacity of 50% to this of 50%. All right. Change the opacity of this to 50%. Okay. All right. So I am going to ungroup this. I'm going to ungroup this. Or I'm going to ungroup this. Ungroup layers. Then I will create clipping mask so that they just clip directly to this image. Okay, they click directly to this image. So I'm going to add, some things to this image. I'm going to add some things to this layer, like some details to this layer. So I'm going to go to my filter. I'm going to go to my filter and go to my camera raw filter. So in my camera raw filter, I will add a bit of contrast to this. I'll increase the highlights of this to make the image brighter a bit. Then I'll add some bit of blacks. Just add blacks here. Then I'll go down, add texture to it. I love adding lots of textures to my images. Add clarity to this. I will go down. I'll add some detail to this. I'll add a little sharpening. I'll just reduce the noise a bit, and I think I'm okay with my this thing. I just do a little bit of basic and a little bit of detail and click on okay. All right, so I'll see the improvement on my image already. All right, so the next step for me to do is to bring in, I think I'll reduce this a bit. All right, I'll just move this a bit away, scroll down like this, make this one. All right, for this I want to add a bit of vignette to create an illusion of lights in this. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click on Shift F5, and I'm going to click on 50% gray, and I'm going to convert this to add overlay here, and I'm going to convert this to smart objects. So I'm going to click on my filter, go to camera raw filter to create a vignette. So what I'm trying to do here is to create a vignette. So I'll use it to create an illusion of lights. So you understand as I'm doing it. So I'm going to go to effects, click on this. I'm going to go to effects, scroll down. I'm going to go to effects here. I'm going to go to vignette. I'm just going to make a vignette here like this. Okay, you see a subtle vignette. So I'll create a layer mask here and click on my brush tool. It's my brush tool. I'm actually going to remove this part of it, like this part of it, just to make sure that this place is darker. This is darker. All right. I'm just going to lock this layer here. So there's something I didn't do to this layer, so I forgot. I'm going to go back to this, my background here. You could double click on it, and I'm going to add in a bit of filter gallery. Add filter gallery here. I'm going to add underpainting. Go to artistic. I'm going to add underpainting here, and I'm also going to add Gaussian. I'm going to add hue saturation, Control U, and I want to reduce the saturation of this layer. Okay. Then I'm going to go to camera raw filter. I'm going to remove this Gaussian blur layer. I'm going to delete it. I'm just going to disable it first. Okay, I'm going to go to camera raw filter, camera raw. I'm going to add a bit of detail to this sharpen. I will make it to contrast, increase the highlights, increase the texture, increase the clarity. I'll click on OK. So I have a brighter version of this image. Okay, I'm going to lock this layer and click on yes. All right. Well, what I'm going to do here is I am going to bring in my remaining images. So what I wanted to do here is that I wanted to make sure that this place will be like the source of light, then this place will be like a darker part. That's why I added this vignette layer here to create like the darker part, and this be the lighter part. This will be the lighter part, like the light shining on his face, and this other place is be dark. If you get it, don't get it, then forget about it. All right, go to close this layer, save it. Then go to drag in my other images. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to convert it to, I'm going to select subject, I'm going to remove the subject. So what I'm going to click on select and select subject. All right, my subject has been selected. So I'll click on layer mask. Okay. Now hide this layer. Also, this has also been selected. So I'm going to click on select and click on subjects. Okay, my subjects have been selected, and I'm going to click on layer mask. All right. So my subject is not well selected. You can see some parts are not well selected. So I'm going to duplicate that, Ctrl Z this, and I'm going to zoom into it. And I'm just going to use my lasso tool to arrange it back so that it will be well selected. So I'm just going to use my lasso tool. I'm going to speed up this area, speed up this part. All right, so we are done selecting this layer. As you can see, it's a bit of rough, so but just use it like that. So what I'm going to do is like I'm going to bring this like this, and I am going to drag it, like use my brush tool, clean here, looking fake. In here, just add this one back. All right, I'm going to convert this to smart objects, and I'm going to convert this one to smart object also. Convert this one to smart object. All right, so Ctrl 0, scale this down a bit, move this one like this, like so, move the one like this, like so. I'm going to make this one bigger a bit. Okay, okay, just going to make this one like this. Just try and fit it into into place like this. Okay, just take this one to the behind. All right, take this one like this, like so. Make this a bit, scroll this down a bit down. All right, drag this up. Okay, I'm just going to drag this in. Let's just drag this in first. This is a rainbow dispersion, so let's drag it in. And I'm going to bring this up here. I'm just going to drag this high like this. Reduce it like this, reduce like this. And I'm going to convert this one to screen. Change it to screen. I'm just going to make this one bigger. Make it bigger like this. Okay. Okay, may I also make it bigger. Just make this bigger. All right. Click on good here, and I'm going to lock this layer and hide it. So for these layers like this, I'm going to move this one down a bit. Let me just check this. Okay. Right. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add in my camera raw filter. I'm just going to drag this camera raw filter here, holding Alt and drag it here. Okay. I'm going to hold this one and hold Alt and drag it here. All right. Ctrl Z. I'm going to drag this here, put it here. All right. So everyone here has a camera raw filter here. Now I'm going to click on this camera raw filter. I'm going to take it, make it monochrome. Make it monochrome here. So I'm going to click on color, I'm going to click on monochrome. That's just it. All right. Same thing applies to this. Click on the camera filter like this. I'm going to click on monochrome. Okay. All right. So just going to group this a bit. Move this a bit higher like this. All right. So this, I'm just going to add these color layers to them. I'm going to select these 5 color layers like this. I'm going to hold Alt and drag them up and just add them in between these layers like this. And I'm going to click on create clipping mask. So they clip to this, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. I'm going to click on this, drag it out like this, and I'm going to click on create clipping mask. So they clip for the second one. So the next thing I'm going to do here is that I'm going to add my curve, start adding my curves layer, and I'll add my light layer to this. So this layer like this, I'm just going to leave it like this, leave it at 50%. So I'm going to add my curves layer to this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to this particular image here, this image here. I'm going to click on this, I'm going to click on curves, and I'm going to add, just going to take this down a bit like so. Take this down a bit like so. Then I'm going to go to my brush tool, and I'm going to increase it, and I'm going to lighten up the front of my image like this. Click on, make sure my foreground color is black. So it's going to reduce the lighting here. So you can see space is showing black. Reduce the lighting here. So I'm just going to take this one down a bit. All right, to make it dark, this place darker a bit. All right, great. Let me go back to my background layer. I think I will reduce the opacity of this a bit. Just take this down. Okay, 60. All right, great. And I think I will reduce the noise a bit. Just reduce the noise to about 10. All right. Okay, I'll reduce the opacity of this a bit. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add. Just going to remove this one here. I think one is enough. I'm going to go back to my light layer like this. Just going to make some adjustments to this light layer. Just going to bring it out a bit. Okay, I think I'm okay with it here. Okay, good. Right. And I'm going to add curves for this and add curves for this also. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go for this layer. This is this. And I'm going to add curves to this. Add curves to this. I'm checking this also. I'm checking it, so I'm going to delete this part. Curves to back up here. So for this, I'm going to add curves here. Just add curves like this, like so. All right, I'm going to zoom this in, and I'm going to go to my brush tool, and I'll reduce the size of my brush tool, and I'm just going to brighten the other side of his face. Okay, brighten the other side of the face. Okay, just darken this place a bit. X, so to add this one back. All right, so for this layer, I'm going to do the same for this layer. For this layer here, I'm going to do this for this. All right, so I'm going to add this like this. Add my curves. I'm going to just bring this down a bit. All right, I'm going to, this is a bit down, just doing this like this. Just going to my brush tool. I'm going to add a bit of light here, remove light here. I'm just going to remove the curves from here. All right, okay. So this is what we have. So I'm going to go to my light layer. I'm going to click on it, add layer mask from it. I'm just going to reduce some part of the light. Just going to cover out some part of the light on this place. Reduce my flow to 27. I'll just reduce my flow to 20. All right, just going to move this to clean this part of it out. Okay. All right, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to start adding my highlights, adding my lights to actually the man himself. So I'm going to go to my first layer, like this. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to click on a new layer. Then I'll go to my layer like this. I'm going to add this color, this particular color, FEAD feed 00. All right, to add it, I'm going to click on Alt Basket to fill this, and I'm going to click on Create Clipping Mask. I'm going to make it to be linear dodge, add. So I'm going to click on this, add a layer mask, then click on Ctrl I to invert the mask. Now I'm going to go to my brush tool, and I'm going to change the brush tool, the brush size to 20. The brush size, and I'm going to reduce it. I'm going to reduce the size of the brush. Reduce the size of the brush. I'm just going to add subtle lighting to the face. I'm just going to add just at the edge like this. Okay, I'll change it. Make sure my foreground color is white like this. Then I'll change this. Just going to add this to the face like this, subtly. Then I'll increase the size of the brush. Change it back to, tint it down to like 5%, and I will just reduce the size of the brush, just drag over the face like this. Okay, so all right, I'm just going to do this for there and here also. I'm going to go to this layer here. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm just going to duplicate this instead of wasting so much time. Take it to the top of this like this. So then I will delete this. I'm going to create clipping mask, and I'm going to create a layer mask. I'm going to do Ctrl I. Then I'm going to go to my layer, to my brush tool. I'm going to change the flow to 30 to 20. I'm going to bring this down. I'm just going to add subtle layer light to this, just at the edge. All right. I'm going to reduce the flow to 5. Just going to add lights like this, like so. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for this also. I'm going to drag this holding Alt. I'm going to take this like this. Okay, then I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to add layer mask to this. I'm going to click on Ctrl I to duplicate this. To invert this, I'm going to click on Create Clipping Mask to this. Then I'm going to go to my brush tool. I'm going to change the flow to 20. I'm going to add some light, subtle light to it, the front. All right. Make sure the light is not too bright. Just add to the front like this. All right. I'm going to change the flow back to 5%. I'm just going to add here. I'm going to change the flow back to 5 here. I'm just doing this as a rough work, not like it's all like that. I'm just doing it as a rough look. So you get the idea. Just going to change this. Just going to Just going to brush this one out like this. So I'm just going to do light off. Can't be charging it if it's true. So what I'm just going to do here is that I'm just going to blend this to the layer. Just blend it to the darker part and blend it to the lighter part of this image using just going to increase this and blend this a bit here. All right, I'm just going to do that for here also. For this, I'm going to blend it to the darker part of this image. Just going to blend like this, hold it onto gray, drag it like this, and drag it like this. Also click on OK. All right, I'm going to go to this main layer and I'm going to drag this light like this. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to drag this down a bit so I can blend with the skin. All right, this is too much. Okay. All right, so I think this is too extreme. I'm just going to click on this. So let me move this down back. All right, so I can now turn this back on. Okay, so we are basically at the crossroad and at the end of this design. We're basically at the end of this design. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to click on this and we're going to click on adjustment. We're going to click on color lookup. We're going to click on this load 3D editor. We're going to click on two-strip look. So what this two-strip look does, it creates a second color for the images. Good. So what we can do now, we can start adding our text. So I can start adding our text. So the first text we used is just do it. I'm actually going to copy the text because there's no special thing about the text that I did. I'm just going to copy the text. So the text is just do it, and the text is in the description below. So I'm just going to copy it, duplicate. So I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to send it here. It's titled 1, and I'm going to duplicate this date also. I'm going to send it to titled 1. Okay. So basically, this date is just a part, just like typing on a part, and this is just a text. So this is just a text also. This is just a text also. Just to write this one, I'm just going to copy this group, duplicate this group, and duplicate it to this. Okay. So this is how I did this design. I'm just going to do like this. Take it to this up like this. This is how I did this design. It's very, very simple. Very, very super simple. Very, very simple. All right, so take this to the top like this, and this is how I did this design. So what I'm going to do, like you can also create just add adjustments on top of this layer by clicking on this and this, clicking on Control, Shift and Alt and E to stamp your design and convert it to smart objects. Then you just go to filter, camera raw filter, and just add contrast, a bit of contrast, add highlights to it, add a lot of highlights to it, add highlights to it a bit, and let's add a bit of, there's a lot of blacks here, just increase the blacks a bit. And I'm going to click on add a texture. So I'm going to add texture to this. I like adding textures to my design. I don't add too much texture. So that's that. I'm going to add sharpening to this, a bit sharpen. All right. Okay, so it is brighter now, and you can just add a color lookup to create another color version of this design. So we have come to the end of this tutorial. So here's the bonus for you. Join my Telegram channel and my WhatsApp group to get access to other creatives so I can collab and share ideas about video projects, design projects, etc. We can work together to make ourselves better in the field of video production and graphic design. So the links to these channels are in the description below. The link to the channel, the link to the WhatsApp are in the description below. So do well to also join them and subscribe to this channel. And don't forget, watch another of my video. You can watch another of my video just around the corner, maybe here or here or here or here or here or here. And also subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.